This thing, the battery's under the passenger side floor. So we'll put a battery in it, and then we can see if we can make the motor crank over.
Finnegan, I've got facts. Ready? It's a 4-speed, which we confirmed. It has 392 gears, and it has 143 horsepower.
How do you know all this?
It's on the door jamb.
Oh.
Headlights on.
No, they're not.
Sometimes you gotta get the corrosion off of there.
Oh, you got one.
How about when I click the dimmer switch 100 times?
Negative. Let me go to the back of the truck. Your left rear is lit up.
It is right now?
Yeah. So earlier I threw a battery in this thing, and in my haste to hear the engine run, I ignored the fact that the negative cable was pretty well shot on this deal. If you look at it, it's frayed. Only half the things in the car worked. Like, we have one taillight, no turn signals. It sounds a lot like a ground problem. So I'm gonna cut the cable shorter, and then we'll put the cable back together, and then we will try to crank the motor over. Battery's fixed, try them. Oh, there you go.
It worked?
They're on now, yeah.
Yes!
We've got, one's a little dimmer than the other one, but they are both on.
Cool. And whoosh. Oil's coming out. Once that all drains really well, I'm gonna put some new oil in, and then we'll test fire it. I think it's gonna run. So this is a oil bath air cleaner that thankfully has no oil actually in it.
I have no idea how that thing works.
Oh, really? Air comes in here. This shape forces it down.
Okay.
And then there's oil in there. And then the air has to change directions to come up in the carburetor. And so dust is like a heavier particle.
Oh, trapped in the oil.
And so the momentum of the dust continues it down into the oil where it gets caught. But then the clean air goes up into the carburetor.
What happens when you like jump the truck and it lands real hard and the oil comes up?
That's the problem.
Oh.
Yeah.
Horn works.
Here's what we know right now. First of all, this is a 272 cubic inch Y block, not a 292. We also know that the seller and a neighbor pulled the plugs out of it and put oil in all the cylinders and actually turned it over before we even got here. And so the engine rotates, it's not seized. You want to crank it a little bit first, then I'll starting fluid it?
Okay.
Let's see if the cranking works. Wow.
Oh.
It runs. It's gonna run.
It wants to go.
Yep.
Hey.
That's on fire. Stop. Man, that's a good fire.
Well, you won't be cold anymore.
Don't worry, it's only North Face. Man, that does not want to go out. Where's the fire extinguisher?
So after Freiberger replaced the master cylinder, we decided, well, if the master cylinder was junk, the wheel cylinders are probably gonna blow out on this thing the first time we go around the block. And because it's 4-wheel drum brakes and the master cylinder only has a single reservoir, if you blow out one, the whole system goes flat, then you have no brakes. We decided we're going to replace all 4 wheel cylinders in these front brakes. That's in pretty good shape.
We're doing the right thing in changing the wheel cylinders. Thing is, you would think that you wouldn't be able to find an obscure 56 F-100 wheel cylinder, even in Salt Lake. But then, we hit AutoZone, and we did have to order it, but we did get the Duralast wheel cylinders and brake hoses. Life saved. All right, let me throw this together. Okay.
Well, that spring's broken. Here's another one that looks similar-ish, however, has the tensile strength of a garage door spring. And I cannot get this from here to here. It just ain't happening. Not even with correct tools, not happening. And look, this is approximately the same length, but more importantly, the thickness of the spring is really close, which means I might have a chance of actually stretching this from here to here. And believe it or not, this is from a 65 Ford Mustang, so why wouldn't it work on a 56 Ford F-100? Woohoo! Fixed. We got problems. It's got the stupid spring on it, and the spring is pushed up against the nut.
Yeah.
So when you turn the nut, it's trying to turn the spring and the line.
Is it already broken or twisted?
No, it's trying to twist.
I'm really good at loosening those.
All right, I'll leave it for you.
That'll work.
Ooh, that's rusty. This is a different diameter, these back ones.
I guess we use them anyway. I just wrapped up the entire front suspension, or front brakes, I should say, and wheel bearings. They're all lubed and stuff. Finnegan is working on the rear brakes. I'm gonna move on to the important work and polish my grille. Rust coming through. We got all of the brakes rebuilt and fixed and all the lines going, and now we bleed.
It's gone down a little bit. I was getting bubbles, but now I'm not.
All right, go.
Here we go.
Yeah, I hear it bubble when it comes back up.
Ooh, and now we're getting dirt coming back in. Little bit of black cloud coming in.
Well, this rear hose could be clogged. Okay, I want to look at the fuel line, see how mangled it is or death-inducing. It's hard line. This is good. I always want to inspect the fuel lines on old stuff that's been sitting, and fortunately this thing is steel hard-lined the whole way with the exception of one connector at the tank that's in good shape, and up here that goes from the hard line to the fuel pump, but it doesn't have a filter in it, so I'm going to replace that rock-hard piece of line.